Well, for more on this, Phil Clark joins us now from London. He's a political scientist specialising in conflict and post-conflict issues in Africa and a reader in international politics at the School of Oriental and African Studies. Phil, thank you very much for your time. Can you just explain to us then how significant today's date is for Rwandans?
It's an extremely significant date in that it represents the end of the genocide, but it also represents the Rwandan Patriotic Front coming to power. And I think in the minds of most Rwandans, today is a day, firstly, for reflection on the impact of the genocide, which continues really for every single Rwandan adult. But it's also a day for reflection on the nature of the government in Rwanda today, controlled by the RPF, and the political situation in the country, particularly with the Tutsi minority government in charge. So this is a very important social but also political day for all Rwandans.
So 22 years on then, how united is the country?
Rwanda, I think, has made really remarkable strides in dealing with the legacies of the genocide, and the country is more peaceful and more stable today than I think really anyone could have imagined in 1994. But of course, naturally, for any society that's been through genocide, this is also a country that is still dealing with very important divisions today. I think those divisions are less about Hutu and Tutsi relations, which to a large extent are quite positive. But some important new divisions are opening up, particularly within the Tutsi elite. And we've seen the RPF open up some very important fractures and factions in the last few years, leading to the forced exile of certain Tutsi leaders out of the RPF. So if anything, in terms of the divisions today, it's more about those internal Tutsi relations rather than any significant problems between Hutu and Tutsi.
You say it's more stable than perhaps anyone could have imagined if you look at the horrific events of 22 years ago. President Paul Kagame says the country's emerged from its past by thinking big. What does he mean by that, and what is his record?
I think when Kagame talks about thinking big, he really means two particular things. Well, one is that Rwanda is a country that expresses a very significant discourse of self-reliance. It's a country that says we were abandoned by the international community in 1994. No one else is going to save us. No one else is going to help us with our post-genocide development. We have to do things on our own, using our own people, using our own energy. So that there's a very important emphasis on self-reliance. But coupled with that is a second element, which is a very strong message of the need for innovation. And I've been researching in Rwanda for 14 or 15 years now, and this is something that strikes me as central to how the country has developed, a sense that no other country on earth has had to deal with 800,000 to 1 million people killed, mainly by their own neighbors and by their own friends, and a country that has such little resources dedicated to development. And so Rwanda feels that it has had to use very creative means of development. It's had to prosecute genocide suspects through village-based courts called gacaca. It's had to hark back to its own traditional practices of reconciliation and memorialization. So Rwanda has basically said the international community has very few remedies that are useful for our context. We have to come up with very innovative means ourselves. And so when Kagame talks about thinking big, he's also emphasizing these Rwandan solutions.
Okay, Phil, thank you very much for your time and thank you for your thoughts. Phil Clark.